We got a touch screen for your Mac? Yeah, let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. So today we have a different one. We have a touch screen for your Mac, and let me explain. Here we have, this is called the Wimaxit, W-I-M-A-X-I-T. I'm not sure I'm saying that correctly. The model number here is and I'll put it up on the screen, M1560CT3. And here it is right here. Now I'm going to shut this down in a second because I'm going to show you a little bit more about it. And then I'm going to show you how this actually works with the touch functionality in a couple seconds. Stay tuned for that. I'm going to show you my finger touching it. Not always the clearest because my finger gets in the way, but at least you're going to see what this thing can do. All right, so I have this actually. Now this is a 15.6 inch. Here's the box over here. IPS panel. Let me go ahead and put that up there. So 15.6 IPS panel, and it's full HD, and let me see what else it says. It does have a bunch of other things which I'll get into in a second, but that's not the important thing. If you're looking for a portable monitor for your Mac that you can travel with and things like that, this one's perfect because of two reasons. Number one, it's a good monitor just by itself, and number two, it's got touch functionality, which we're going to get into. Also, I have it running right now off of a MacBook Air back here with no power, so I'm just plugging in USB-C to USB-C. It totally powers this monitor over here. And I don't need an additional power cord for that as well. That's a huge key if you're traveling in hotels and stuff. All right, so I'm going to show you close-ups of this screen in a second, so I'm just going to shut it down right now. I'm going to go ahead and shut that, and you're going to see that go off. All right, now in the box, you can see, I'll show you some pictures of the box. It does come with a number of different cables, a cleaning cloth, a little power dongle, which you do not need. I'll get into that, but you don't need it from, you don't need it to actually, you can just use power right out of your MacBook. But it does come with a USB, HDMI cable, USB-C to USB-C, USB-C to USB-A, so a whole bunch of different cables for you, including that power brick in case you do need that, but I didn't even use it, so that's a cool feature as well. I just wanted to go over what comes in the box. So here it is right here. This screen here is really cool because it actually folds up like this. If you see that, and oops, sorry about that. And it has a kind of a carrying case, and I'll try to show you some close-ups, but it's really cool because obviously the case becomes a stand as well, and that's really cool with the monitor, right? Because you're going to be traveling, you don't even have to have a case for it. You actually have this. On the back of it, it does have a VESA mount as well, which is crazy for a little teeny screen like this. So if you want a touch mount, and a VESA mount, it's actually really good for a touch screen. There we go. So overall, what is this screen? This is 1920 by 1080. It's 1080p, 15.6 inch IPS, and it says that it's touchscreen, wall mountable, built-in speakers on this as well, and they're not the best, but they're good enough for if you need them in a pinch, so that's not bad. Now this has about 250 or a little higher brightness, but there's a game mode, which I'll show you, which when I had it on there, it's more than bright. You want to switch it to that, and then you can adjust some of the settings. So overall, not a bad screen there. Now the reason you buy this thing as well is because this thing can connect not only to your Mac, it can connect to PCs. It says it can connect to PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, Android phones, things like that, and have touch screen capability if you want them. So there's a huge plus as well. Think about that for a second. On a screen like this, that's so big and so cheap. And if you look over at my screen too, let me just talk about the price. First of all, it's $179 only. $179 for this thing. So you're not paying a ton more money for the touch functionality of the screen. You're actually paying about the same as you would with a normal screen like this. I know we're getting some glare there. All right, so overall, now on this side of the monitor over here, let me just go through some of the settings here. It has a headphone jack, has a little dongle for your settings, and then it has a power button. And on the other side, if I can actually get in here really quickly, it does have a speaker. I think on both sides it actually has speakers. But then on the other side, it's got HDMI. It's got two USB-C ports. One's for power, or both of them for video. So you can use it to power this if you need extra power, which I didn't. Or you can use it USB-C for plugging in devices as well. And there's two of those. And then there's a USB-C OTG port, it looks like, or OTG port. That doesn't look like it's USB-C, but that's for external mouses, it says, or wireless mouses and things like that. So it's really only got the two USB-C and the HDMI. One key note on this thing is you got to remember, you cannot use the HDMI to plug into this. Otherwise, you will lose the touchscreen capability. It's not built in with HDMI. You got to use USB-C. That's why I'm doing it through my Mac. So if you're using this, remember that's a huge feature, but you also have to be using USB-C in this for it to work. All right. So anyways, this folds up and it's it's very portable. And now it says, does this monitor work with MacBooks? And it says yes. It says it'll work on the USB-C 3.1 Gen 2. 2019 and later versions of the MacBook, so just keep that in mind when you're ordering. I'll have links to the description and all that stuff in my links to this in the description, so you can go ahead and look at all the additional details before you make a purchase also. Now the cool part with this thing too is, does it need all these crazy drivers and stuff? No. I actually hooked this up to my MacBook over here, Air M1. It turned on in 1 second, worked perfectly, flawlessly out of the box, and there was absolutely no problems with it whatsoever. So I was able to turn it on quickly and had zero problems with it. Full touchscreen capability. Learning curve was easy. So let's talk about the learning curve here, and let me just show you, I guess, how this works. I'll probably give you a little bit more information at the end of it, but take a look at this. So the question is this actually a useful screen? Well, first of all, look at it. It's not a bad screen at all, and I'll go through the settings in a second. But what you're getting for the money is you're getting kind of just an added bonus of having a touchscreen on a Mac. Now, is it useful? Well, there's some use cases. If you can imagine, if you're typing on, let's say you're typing on the MacBook Air over here, and you don't want to move over to this thing with your cursor, and you want to just click a quick button over here, you can easily go over here and click a button on the screen, and it's going to work really quick and really fast. And I'm going to show you that. A couple things here, though. So is this really something that is it easy to use? I'm going to show you. Let's say you're just browsing the web here, and you can see down over here, if I go way over here and I click on this, you can grab it like this and go up and down. See this? You can move the web page fairly easy there. So that's really easy to do. Again, it takes a little bit of getting used to, but you can actually navigate pretty easily. So if you want to click on an article, you just click on it like that. It'll come right up. Again, over here, if you want to click on an article, you just click on it. So everything's very responsive, very quick. There's an ad there, obviously, but you get the idea. Now, the problem is up in the corner up here. When you want to go ahead and minimize and do stuff like that, it's a little more difficult. I think you can get the buttons, make them a little bit bigger up there. But if you can imagine, if I click, let's say, the middle one here just to minimize it, it's going to take me a couple times to do that. Sometimes I miss, and sometimes I hit the wrong button. That's one of the kind of the key things that you have to kind of take from this is it's not perfect, but it's a bonus, right? Let's just say you're sitting here and you want to go ahead and you're typing on your M1 MacBook Air over here on the left, and you want to open up a folder really quickly and you don't want to move your cursor over here. You can go way over here, you can just double click on a folder, it opens right away up like that, you can see it. So that's very easy. Then once you're in here, you can take this and you can drag it around any way you want to. So again, it's very easy to do. If you can imagine just taking things and dragging them, anything that you think that your mouse would hit, your finger can use just like a mouse. So you just click on it and the mouse will register just as it is. So if I want to go ahead and minimize this, I go ahead and minimize it. Again, a little more difficult with those small buttons. A couple of things too, if you want to get to the menu system, you got to think of your finger as a mouse. So you kind of scroll down like this, see that? And it opens up the menu down there. And then you can go ahead and click on, let me just click on this, Launchpad. So Launchpad's kind of cool. You can go ahead and it's very easy to go back and forth through all your applications. Again, if you're typing over here on the left-hand side, you want to open up weather, for example, just click on weather really quickly like that and look at that. It comes right up. You want to see some other things on weather, click right there. So everything works just super quickly, and there's very little, you have to hit the right button. Sometimes you miss it, but if you do hit it, it works. It's just very, very fluid and nothing, I haven't seen any issues with wrong touches. It's very responsive. You got to remember sometimes the double click, sometimes a single click. You just got to get used to it, and I'm not totally used to it yet, but you can imagine this kind of a thing. And then if I scroll down here again, something like Maps again, let's just say you click on this and you have Maps open. And now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and look how, you can just drag like this as if it's a tablet. You can kind of double click and zoom in on things. So it's very responsive, very quick. Look how quick that is. Look how fluid and everything is. It works very well. There's almost no miscontact from your finger to the screen. A couple things about this too, though, you got to remember is this only works with the USB-C to USB-C cable. You have to have a device like this M1 MacBook Air over here, M2 Airs, and all the different new Macs. But as long as it has USB-C to USB-C, the touch feature is going to work. While this comes with other ports, it doesn't work with HDMI, the touch feature. I just want to make sure that's clear again, because obviously, that's just something that people might try and it may not work for them. Overall, though, you can connect this again to a PC, to a Switch, to what else is there? Like an Xbox. It works with a whole bunch of different things, so this touch functionality might work really well. Now, if you can imagine, just imagine how you would use this. There's all different apps you got to use your finger to get down here, but like opening up Keynote, you can open up that. It opens up, everything opens up quickly. So there's no problems there. You cancel things out, open things. So it just works just like a mouse. There's nothing else to it. It's just an added bonus, and it's kind of a novelty maybe, but at the end of the day, it works really well. I got to say that. Now the settings over here, I'm going to see if I can get in here and just show you some of the settings really quickly. On the left-hand side over here, if you click on this there's like a little scroll wheel, and I'm at a weird angle, so I got to see if I can do it. There it is. So you can see up here it's got brightness, contrast, eco. Now the eco is I have it on gaming because that gets a little bit brighter. It's about, I think, 250 nits, but if you put it on eco, it gets a lot brighter, so I don't know what that does, but I just put it on there. DCR, then sharpness. It's also got color temp, hue, saturation, low blue light, FreeSync, actually, believe it or not, and that's off right now. Volume, mute, and then keep going. It's got the language, the image flip, HDR is on auto, reset everything, and then it's got the auto select, which is I'm using USB-C right now. So overall, the menu system is fairly easy to use. It's very intuitive, and there's no problem there. I have it on brightness 7 right now, if you can imagine. So overall, it's not, it's pretty bright for what it is, but again, it's not going to be nearly as bright as my MacBook over here, but of course, the cost is a lot less as well. All right, so you can imagine, to my surprise, it worked really well for what it is. Again, I envision, like, let's say you're on your Mac over here and you just don't want to move your cursor way over to the screen over here. You just hit it, and like, it's an easy link. You can hit it, it comes up quickly. That's what I use it for a lot. And it does have vertical screen capability. I didn't mention that, but it can flip, and so you can use it vertically as well. And it has a 10-point finger touch. What is it? What are they called up here? 10-point multiple touch, so freely zoom in and out, no driver needed, 10-point touch. So that's actually not bad either to have that in there as well. So you get the idea. Do I love this thing? I love it because of the fact that it's about the same cost as any of these other monitors, but you get that added feature. You can use it with all different devices. Works really well. I mean, maybe it can be a little bit brighter, but overall, it's perfect for what it is. If you have it next to another MacBook or something, you need extra real estate. And it's easy to travel with. It's got this like leatherish type case. The ports are really nice on it. It's, you can VESA mount it. Works with no drivers, which is a huge key there. Nothing you have to throw on your computer at all. Don't worry about that. Just plug it in. USB-C works the best for the touchscreen capability. And at the end of the day, call it a day because it's a very good value for $179. You tell me. I mean, I started fooling around with it. There's so many things you can do with this thing. I only touched the surface on them. It's really more than what I showed you, but you have to maybe change the icon sizes and some of your icons and stuff if you really want to get the full functionality out of this, or you can hook this up to something where people can use it as like a kiosk or something. I don't know. Overall, though, it's just fun to fool around with. So if you're looking for a touchscreen for a Mac, we found one today, and I'll have links to it in the description. I gotta say, it's actually pretty good for what it is. Again, don't expect the world, but expect what you're paying, and I think it punches above that weight. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.